Why do we have so much street food? How do we buy in markets? If you want to learn about the culture of a country, of a city, or Mexico, food is culture. You just have to go through that.
Welcome to About the Journey. I'm your host, Oneika Raymond, travel expert and member of Marriott Bonvoy. In this season, we're exploring how travel changes us for the better, allowing us to nurture ourselves, our relationships with family and loved ones, and even with the world around us. This week, we're in Mexico City, one of the most exciting culinary capitals in the world. And you know what? The best way to dive into it is to literally taste it, which is precisely what I'm going to be doing today.
Mexico City people, we are passionate about the street food. We do at least one meal a day in the streets.
You can see really famous chefs coming down here. They have their own chinampa and they just pick things up and that they put that on their daily menu.
The mezcals that we have here, you cannot find it anyplace else.
So here's the deal. We're going to be making 3 stops in Mexico City that give it its distinctive sabor or flavor. And at each stop, we're going to trace the history of the city through its food and drink. By the end of this episode, you'll be plugged into the eating and drinking traditions that nourish this intriguing capital. Mexico City. Welcome to a sprawling metropolis of over 20 million people where history and modernity collide on every corner. You know, I've actually lived in Mexico before, way up in the north. And as such, I've visited the capital, Mexico City, many times. And let me tell you, the city seems to evolve every single time I visit. So it always feels new. But this time around, I really want to deepen my understanding of the rich history and layered cultures that make up its eating and drinking scene. The mixture of indigenous and Hispanic cultures infuse every aspect of life here, but they truly come to life on the plate. For centuries, much of Mexico City's food has been grown and delivered from a region known for its maze of waterways and islands called Xochimilco. So that's precisely where we're headed first. I've driven an hour outside of central Mexico City to Sochimilco. Now, this historic and active canal system is both a popular and bustling place to gather for a float down the waterway. But today, I'm here to see a quieter side of Xochimilco. Now, while I've had the privilege of visiting Mexico City many times, I've actually only been to Xochimilco once before, and that was nearly 20 years ago. But the Xochimilco that I've experienced before, and what it's probably best known for, is its afternoon parties on the water.
We've all done it. It's like the mariachis and the flowers and families dancing on the boat and then eating. And it's beautiful. I love it.
This is Anais Martinez, founder of the company Devoured Food Tours. Anais agreed to meet me at Xochimilco at the crack of dawn to help me connect to its quieter side that most visitors don't see, the farms.
Originally, to grow things, we were able to feed ourselves from this. So this is the reason why I like to come this early, because this is like the complete opposite. We are in touch with not only the nature and fresh air, but also the history of how this started.
Anais leads me onto a flat-bottomed boat called a trajinera. We take off down the calm, tree-lined waterway that nourishes Mexico City. Our destination is a sunrise farm-to-table breakfast.
Xochimilco still to the date is one of the most important green areas of the city. This, along with Chapultepec, this is like 2 of the lungs of the city. We call them the lungs of the city. It's really important.
Today, Mexico City dwellers come to Xochimilco for a breath of fresh air. But all this greenery didn't happen by accident. Held together by these rows of trees are plots of man-made farmland that Anais tells me are called chinampas.
They call them the floating islands in English. I don't know why, because as you can see, they're not floating. It's just ground. It was made of layers of soil and plants and over again. So then you keep building up until you have like a bed, like a bedding where you can actually step on. And then slowly we started growing things.
Wow.
So the more shore you have, the more life you have.
And life is vibrant in Xochimilco today. I'm invigorated by the rising sun that warms the cool, fresh air. We hear birds and other sounds of wildlife pierce through the morning haze.
Sounds are amazing.
Yeah, I love this.
There's this, we call them gallinetas. So a little chicken, water chicken. They're black with the little beak. That's the one. Cue, on cue.
We glide to a gentle stop at La Chinampa del Sol, or the Sun Chinampa. I step out onto a soft soil path lined by Mexican willows and beautifully natural and wild-looking herb bushes. It's both lush and alluring.
You can greet the rosemary.
Oh, this is lovely.
It smells amazing.
Gosh.
Morning dew and everything.
Oh, beautiful.
And so I want you to take a look at the kitchen.
We make our way into a clearing outfitted with an open-air kitchen to our left.
Do you want some coffee?
I would love some.
Yeah. So they have café de olla,
Okay.
which means like coffee from the pot, boiled with some piloncillo. You know, piloncillo is like a raw sugar
Thank you.
cone that we use.
Oh, okay.
And some cinnamon. It's not too sweet.
Oh, wow. This tastes great.
It's good, right?
As I sip on my café de olla, we walk through a cheerful flower garden to a field full of leafy green vegetables. Lettuce, kale, and rainbow chard grow from the dark brown earth.
So here in Xochimilco, we have a really rich in nutrient soil. I think there's only one in the whole world that's richer than this. It's in the Amazonas. But yes, because of all the volcanic activity that we had here a long time ago, the organic matter in this soil is really high than the rest of the world.
Anais bends down to pluck some crisp, tender green lettuce leaves from the chinampa's fertile soil.
I think that's
I love
enough.
it. It's like shopping, but at a different type of store.
No, but fresh. You know what?
Basically.
I'll get some of these. This
Oh,
is
what are
celery
these?
flower.
Oh, wow.
It's gonna be perfect for our salad. All right. Let's go have breakfast.
We make our way to an al fresco dining setup. On the table is a breakfast spread. Now let me tell you about it. There are hearty sopes made of fried blue corn masa topped with tender shredded beef. And there's a salad made of the lettuce we just picked that's almost too beautiful to eat. The smell is divine, and I suddenly feel my stomach rumble in anticipation.
Anais, this looks incredible. It smells incredible, and I cannot wait to dig into all of this. I love that this is the true farm-to-table experience.
On your plate.
On my
5
plate.
minutes.
5 minutes. Incredible, incredible.
While we eat our breakfast, Anais tells me that only a fraction of the chinampas in Sochimilco remain active today. It's her mission to help people connect to this land and how vital it is to preserving the identity of Mexico City's culinary scene.
Why is Xochimilco such an important, or why does it play such an important role in, I guess, the Mexico City food scene?
Well, I guess this is going back to the beginning, right? This is, again, how it all used to look like. And if we had all the chinampas working like as a farm, we could feed a lot of people in the city. And it's important that some of the biggest and most famous restaurants are coming back to this, because I think they're like setting an example, you know, like if they're like the guides, there's a lot of people who are gonna go behind that.
Yeah, so that's incredible. So you're saying that a lot of the restaurants in the city and some of the top restaurants in the city are actually sourcing their food from right where we are,
Yep.
from Xochimilco.
You can see really famous chefs coming down here. They have their own chinampa and they just pick things up and that they put them on their daily menu. So I think if they're setting that example, everyone else is like slowly joining. So it is going back to our roots.
Very cool. And to kind of bring it out with a wider lens, why does food play such an important role in the cultural fabric of Mexico in general?
Well, I think in general, food is culture. So if you want to learn about the culture of a country, of a city, or Mexico, you just have to go through that, right? Why do we have so much street food? How do we buy in markets? What is the lifestyle that we have to have in order for us to go to the markets? Or the tianguis, which is like a pop-up market. Or coming here, so you get some of the traditional things that we've had for a long time. This is going to get everyone out of their perception of what Mexico City is. You're here. First, you enter the city and you see how cosmopolitan and vibrant, and then you come here and it's the complete opposite again. You know, it's like keeps changing your perception.
Agree.
We're like, instead of just being just a city, this is it. This is heritage. This is history. This is nature. This is going back to the roots.
As I leave the tranquil canals of Xochimilco, I can still taste the fresh produce. And I can't help but feel a sense of connection to the land and to the people who have nourished this city for generations. I'm both happy and grateful for this return to Xochimilco and for the opportunity to see it in a different light. But the heart and soul of Mexico City's food culture is in its lively streets. So I make my way to Juarez, a charming residential neighborhood sandwiched between Paseo de la Reforma, home to the iconic Angel de la Independencia, and the trendy Roma Norte neighborhood. It's also the place our next Mexico City guide, Natalia de la Rosa, calls home.
Nice to meet you. Welcome to Mexico City.
Natalia is a food and travel journalist based in Mexico City. And I'm meeting her here for, well, you guessed it, another meal. We convene at the corner of a busy intersection, and all around us, locals go about their day. It's just about lunchtime, and Natalia is here to show me her go-to neighborhood taco stand, one of the oldest in the area.
So where are we exactly?
We're in a very popular plaza in the neighborhood, and we are in my favorite michiote stand.
We're at Taquitos de Michiote Castellan, a street food stand that offers up michiote, a type of taco that you'll be hard-pressed to find outside of Mexico. While I lived in northern Mexico for a year, visited many times since, and have eaten too many tacos to count, I've actually never tried michiote tacos.
And what is michiote exactly?
Michiote is one of the most traditional kind of taco styles in Mexico City. It's from the state of Hidalgo. It's basically lambed, cooked, and kind of wrapped in parchment paper or michiote leaf, which is the outer layer of the agave leaf. And basically they cook it slow and low for a really long time. And the lamb, they marinate it with a bunch of chiles, spices and stuff. And it is a really true stellar taco.
How does street food play a role here in Mexico City?
Well, it's a really essential role, not only in terms of flavor and just fun of kind of going out to get tacos. It's an essential role in terms of like how Chilangos eat every day. So Mexico City people, often we do one meal a day, at least one meal a day in the streets, whether that be a taco, a tamal, a pastry, a coffee, a late night stand. Mexico City people, we not only we are passionate about the street food, but it's part of how 9-to-5ers, construction workers, like families, we just eat in the streets constantly.
The importance of taco stands, or puestos, to the fabric of Mexico City cannot be understated. There are almost 11,000 of them operating in the city. Just behind Natalia, I watch as 3 busy taqueros who span multiple generations work to satisfy the always busy lunch crowd.
So how does the stand work exactly?
So,
There's a lot going on.
Yes, there's a lot going on. This stand has been here for 40 years.
Wow.
It's one of the staples of the neighborhood. And basically, Doña Tere, Doña Angel, they have a really good, loyal customer base. And you come, you order your tacos, and then you put all the toppings here.
I love the idea of choosing your own taco adventure.
Yes, definitely.
And yeah, so let's get into it.
In the capable hands of Natalia, we head to the stand and place our orders. Our taquero readies 2 tortillas with the speed of 40 years of experience. He fills them with generous heaps of slow-cooked lamb.
So he's gonna put cilantro, onion. Cilantro is kind of like one of the stellar kind of toppings. In tacos, you can find cilantro in suadero tacos, in pastor tacos, in michiote tacos, but it's kind of one of the basic ingredients of Mexican cooking. Sí, por favor.
Our taquero hands us our unadorned tacos, and the adventure begins.
There you go.
Beautiful.
And you can put whatever you choose.
Wonderful.
Natalia and I sidle up to a long table filled with a checkerboard of colorful toppings.
Jalapeño, solamente este. Ah, okay.
This is
Este es chile.
There are salsas in daring hues of red and mouth-watering green, as well as pickled vegetables, fresh pineapple, and cactus, known locally as nopales.
And that one is, that one I will be careful if you're...
Natalia said, be careful.
Be
Okay,
careful.
so it's
That
muy picante.
Yes, usually I put a kind of tiny drops and then always extra napkins.
Extra napkins for any spillage.
Yes.
Great. All right, well, let's go eat. Let's go sit down. So Mexico City is known as a foodie town. What is the culinary scene here in Mexico City? Can you describe it?
Well, it's very diverse. Number one is a city that has seen a lot of migrations for different communities, and people from all over Mexico have settled here. It's the biggest city in the country. So you have different regional specialities that you can find here. And it's very diverse in terms not only of the flavors, the region, international cuisines, but it's also diverse in the spectrum. You have really good street food that is like the bread and butter of Chilangos, of Mexico City, how Mexico City people eat. And you also have the high fine dining range, which is like bougie, fancy and stuff. So not only is like broad in the spectrum, but also kind of high and low, we do really well.
That's very cool. And I love this idea of street food being the backbone of the culinary scene here.
Mexicans, we gravitate towards the table. We gravitate towards eating together, family with friends. So in the sense of thinking about not only street food, but just in general as a gravitational epicenter where communities, families, and whole neighborhoods come and to just hang out. So in that sense, food brings us together as a community and as a city as well.
Thank you so much for bringing me here.
Thank you for coming, and thank you for kind of putting a spotlight into not only Mexico City tradition, but what makes Mexico City Mexico City. Its food, its community, its longtime traditions.
Ordering lunch shoulder to shoulder with Natalia, I'm grateful for how warmly she's welcomed me to her favorite puesto. You know, as a traveler, you can never truly live like a local, but you can absolutely come to places like this to feel like a part of the community, if only for a moment or a meal. I leave Natalia. After a day full of eats in the city, I'm ready to head back to my hotel where I can finish the day with a traditional Mexican drink.
Hi, my name is Julie. Welcome to Tijuana.
Thank you so much.
This is Julie Wharton, my guide at JW Marriott Mexico City Polanco's Tohono Room, the first ever Mezcal tasting room in Mexico City. Julie's going to lead me through a private Mezcal tasting to end my day, because you can't visit this city without tasting this smoky spirit that's woven into its eating and drinking culture.
The mezcals that we have here you cannot find it anyplace else.
Julie runs daily Mezcal tastings around the large stone table we're seated at, which represents the Tohono rock used to grind down agave plants for distillation.
So what do you know about mezcal?
I know absolutely nothing about Mezcal. I've actually never tasted it before, not to my recollection. So what is it exactly?
The difference between mezcal and tequila is because mezcal is the way that they do is more artisanal. And with tequila, you can use blue agave, just blue agave. And mezcal, we have like hundreds. So we're going to start with tres chicon.
Okay.
Chicon is meaning spirit in Maya. Tres chicon is the three stuff that they need to make the agave. That's fire, water, and agave.
All right.
So you want to try?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Okay, let's do it.
I take a small sip of the tres chicon. Right away, I get the smokiness that everyone talks about. It hits my tongue like a rocket.
Yeah, it's very smoky too. But it's very light. It's very like.
It is very light.
Yeah. The flavor and the smells that you're going to feel in the mezcal depends on the type of the ground that they plant. Because if you have, I don't know, coffee or corn, depends on the plantation that you have around, is going to influence in the flavor in the mezcal.
How does Mezcal fit into Mexico City's drinking scene?
Anywhere, any place. And the mezcals grow a lot in Mexico. And now we can find a lot of good mezcals here. I think that's part of the culture. The people that make the mezcal, they're families that grow the agave to go to the palenque, to do the distillation. So I think that when you get to know something about mezcal, you can know something about Mexico and the people that living here for so many years and producing mezcal for so many years. So I think that's very important.
Absolutely. It tells a part of the story of Mexico and of Mexico City.
I leave Mexico City feeling revitalized and honestly a bit awestruck, because Despite living in northern Mexico for a year, there's always been an energy to the capital that's drawn me. And plugging into the cities through the local food scene this time around makes it that much more evident. I now realize that getting to eat breakfast along the gorgeous waterways of Xochimilco, trying street food in the bustling neighborhood of Juarez, and sipping smoky, small-batch mezcal right here at the Tahona Room, well, they're all experiences that feed not only my hunger, but also my connection to this beautiful city. So, to my fellow travelers out there, a bit of advice. Come to Mexico City. Come here and visit with an open mind, visit with an empty stomach, and let the flavors, the people, and the stories of this incredible place feed your curiosity. And you know what? I promise you'll only leave hungry for more. That's all for this episode of About the Journey. Subscribe to the Marriott Bonvoy channel and watch all the episodes from this season right here on YouTube.